So what is up, amigos? Hope you're doing awesome. My name is Maddie and welcome back to my channel. You know, when you talk about Indian cinema that truly changed things, you can't skip the name Ram Gopal Varma. And the starting point of that change was Shiva. When it released in 1989, it didn't just become a hit, it became a wake-up call. Telugu cinema had never looked or sounded like that before. There was a new kind of rhythm in how the camera moved. The fights were raw and personal, and the background score stayed with you long after the movie ended. The sound of that chain, the cycle chain, simple but unforgettable, became part of the pop culture. And now, in 2025, Shiva is returning to theaters in 4K and Dolby Atmos. Not remade or altered, just restored, as if cinema itself is giving people one more chance to experience where it all began. It's the perfect moment to look at RGV's journey, his rise, his path-breaking films, his influence, and the slow fade that followed. Back in 1989, Ram Gopal Varma wasn't supposed to become one of India's most talked-about directors. He wasn't even from a film family. He didn't have godfathers. He was a civil engineer who loved movies and wanted to tell stories in a way no one else was doing. When Shiva released, it didn't feel like a debut. It felt like the industry had shifted overnight. Nagarjuna's intensity, the camera work that followed him into every corner, the realistic college politics, everything felt close to life. The film had a pulse. Suddenly, the word realism entered Telugu cinema conversations. People started copying that visual style, that gritty tone. Shiva not only made Nagarjuna a superstar, it also made RGV the new face of fearless storytelling. After Shiva, he moved fast. He directed Kshanam and Gayam, both stylish and sharp, exploring new sides of commercial cinema. But he wanted to push boundaries even further. When he came to Hindi films, people didn't expect much until Rangeela released. That film was a complete surprise. The same director who had made a dark, violent campus film now gave the audience a bright, musical love story. It was fun, energetic, and emotional all at once. It introduced A.R. Rahman's first original Hindi album, and the songs changed how Bollywood sounded. Rangeela made Urmila Matondkar a star and gave Amir Khan one of his most loved performances. RGV had proved that he could switch genres without losing his touch. Then came the iconic Satya in 1998, and that film didn't just change RGV's career, it changed Hindi cinema itself. Before Satya, gangster films were mostly over the top. After Satya, they became human. It was the story of nameless men in crowded lanes, of friendship, fear, and survival in Mumbai. Manoj Bajpayee's Bhiku Matre became a cult figure, and that dialogue, Mumbai ka King Kaun, became a part of everyday talk. It launched careers too. Anurag Kashyap got his first big break as a writer through Satya. The film won awards, but more than that, it made people realize that realism could be powerful, even entertaining. Then he followed it up with Company in 2002, another gem that explored the underworld but in a more mature, corporate way. Ajay Devgan's calm menace, Mohanlal's composed intelligence gave the film that depth. Together, Satya and Company built what people now call Mumbai Noir. The camera became invisible, the storytelling was clean and confident. RGV had built his own world and people couldn't get enough of it. Now, around this same time, he also began experimenting with smaller, tighter series like Kaun, shot almost entirely inside one house. It showed that tension doesn't need scale. Then Bhoot arrived, a horror film with no songs, no glamour, just atmosphere and sound. It terrified audiences because it felt believable. RGV made us afraid of silence. He understood something simple. Fear is strongest when you can imagine it yourself. But he didn't stop there. In 2005, he directed Sarkar, loosely inspired by The Godfather. It was a bold move, but RGV didn't copy, he reinterpreted it for Mumbai. Amitabh Bachchan's powerful silence and Abhishek Bachchan's restrained anger gave the film its identity. The lighting, the close-ups, the chanting Govinda Govinda background score, it all created a mood that felt political, spiritual, and cinematic at the same time. Sarkar became a modern classic, and the two follow-ups, Sarkar Raj and Sarkar 3, turned into a full trilogy. Even when the latter ones didn't have the same impact, the original Sarkar reminded everyone that RGV could still blend style and storytelling like nobody else. Now, parallel to all this, RGV also became a producer who believed in giving new voices a chance. His production company Factory became a playground for experimentation. That's where Sriram Raghavan made his first film, Ek Hasina Thi, which went on to inspire a new generation of thriller makers. He produced small but brave projects, always chasing something new. You may not have liked everything he made, but you could never call him lazy or safe. But somewhere after the mid-2000s, things began to change. The same man who once reinvented cinema started rushing through projects. Maybe it was overconfidence, maybe exhaustion, or maybe too many films at once. RGV ki aag his attempt to remake Sholay turned out to be a disaster. It was mocked, and for the first time, people began to question if RGV had lost his edge. After that, he made films like Rakta Charitra, Not a Love Story, and Killing Veerappan. Some had flashes of his old brilliance, but most missed the precision that defined his best work. He stayed active and kept trying new things, but the world around him had moved on. Even then, you can't ignore what he gave to Indian cinema. He changed how movies were shot, how sound was used, how actors performed. He made films where the camera felt alive, where silence could say more than a dialogue. He created moments we still remember. Bhiku Matre on the ceiling shouting his name to the world. Urmila dancing under city lights on the beach in Rangeela. Ajay Devgan's quiet glare in Company, and Amitabh Bachchan sitting in dim light in Sarkar. And now as Shiva returns to theatres, everything comes a full circle. The same film that announced RGV's arrival is back to remind us what honest filmmaking looks like. No filters, no over-planning, no algorithm deciding what audiences want. Just a director with a story, a camera, and the will to show things the way he saw them. If you get a chance, watch Shiva on the big screen this time. Feel the rawness of those sounds, the movement of that camera, and the energy that started it all. Because films like Shiva aren't just movies, they are moments in history. They remind us that cinema isn't about perfection, it's about conviction. And RGV, with all his ups and downs, remains one of those few filmmakers who built an empire out of that conviction. Love him or hate him, he's the reason so many others found the courage to make the kind of films they believe in, and that's what makes a story worth telling again. Thank you for watching us today. If you like the content, do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel please. You take care, stay awesome, and bye bye.